Hey everyone, and welcome to 97% Fire, the home of home recording, where I have officially run out of ideas for intros. So now is probably a good time to do a sit rep on the studio. If you remember, if you've been watching from the beginning, apologies, but we started off with this when we bought the house. Insert photo of dining room here. Then, once we'd moved in and we were renting, we started to use the space as a rehearsal studio. Insert rehearsal space video here. And then, when we started the project for recording, we took everything out and we've ended up with this, as you can see. Lots more room for activities. We also have different types of sound treatment, so we've got a bit of diffusion there. Now, that's to break up this big wall here, which is very reflective. You don't need to build diffusers like that. You can actually just fit things to the wall. So, for example, curtains will obviously change the acoustics. And now I've convinced my wife that this is a brilliant idea for diffusing. Look at that. Because they're all different thicknesses and there's air gaps behind, they work as diffusers. Honestly. And of course we have the acoustic treatment now. If we go to the kit from an acoustics point of view, we can see that. Right. In the driver's seat here, I've gone full Lars Ulrich mid-80s kit. We've got acoustic treatment to either side, hopefully controlling the room. And one other thing that we're currently doing is very practical, and that is, if you're recording on your own, I tend to use one of the toms as a mouse mat. So I've got this here. Now, if you ask your parents or your grandparents, back in the 80s, used to watch television in your bedroom on a little portable telly. This came with the house. What I'm going to try and do is attach it to the wall somewhere like that, and it will move in and out, and I can use it as a sort of ridiculously over-engineered mouse mat keyboard. Right. I've also replaced the LEDs in this panel, so they now match with this. So it looks a bit cool. It is quite dark on camera, but actually it's not that dark in the room. Right. Let's get the mouse mat arm thingy fitted and then see what we do next. So what we're doing here is simply holding the arm of the TV bracket that we're going to use as the mouse stand to the wall in roughly the right position, so it misses the mic, the floor tom and the storage. Then we make sure the bracket is plumb and mark the holes with a pencil. Then we go and do an extensive risk assessment and method statement and return back wearing all the appropriate safety gear. Drill the holes where we have marked the bracket. Then we tap in 3 roll plugs. We'll then offer the bracket back up, start off the screws, and then we can give a little tap again to make sure the roll plugs are below the level of the plaster and in the bricks behind the wall. Then we send them home, reattach the arm carefully, checking for clearance, and then adjusting for taste. Bob's your uncle. Wobbly cam. So, there we have the makeshift mouse mat ProTools control rig. So that will then, when we're using ProTools, be on the main screen, and then we can then move that out of the way when we're going to do some excellent drumming. Move it back again. That was dead easy. Just held it up drew 3 holes through the markings in the bracket. If you're trying to fix something to the wall that is not designed to be fixed to the wall, or it's very complicated, for example, a plastic Lamborghini. A top tip, what you can do is put said Lamborghini on a colour photocopier, and then you can hold colour photocopy up to the wall. This is the back of the Lamborghini, and you can see, I don't know if it shows up on camera, where the holes are, and you can put fixings into the wall, and then you simply slide your plastic diffuser onto the wall, and it saves you buying special brackets for £25 from Jeff's online shop. There we go. Cool. Neat, simple, most of all, free, which is what we like. Boom. Two new additions to the studio. Number one, these really cool little clip-on drum mics, which I got from Jeff's online store, ever so cheap. There you go. And the second addition, which I've been looking for ages, is this bolt-on stand. Simply clamps on, and then you can put your headphones on it. That's pretty cool. We are slowly getting the studio back together. We put the old telly on. I can show you a top trick. That there is the digital mixing desk, which is next door. I'll just show you that quickly. So let's have a quick look at this. This here is the UI24r. So this blue box is a digital mixing box, and if I press this button here, that will hopefully turn on the screen, and the screen is connected by a HDMI cable directly to the box. So in the studio I can control that, and I do that via, where is it? This wireless mouse. Okay. But there is another feature, and that is that you can connect to this via the Wi-Fi. So on the studio computer here, we have the same repeater screen, and we can turn on number one, move that up and down. That will move up and down there as well, because they're linked. Now, the really, really cool bit is this. You can have all of that on a iPad or a Kindle or whatever you fancy. And again, if I move the mouse up and down, they are all linked. And that is handy because if you work on your own in the studio, you can take your mixing desk directly to your drum kit and plug in your mics and affect your levels, like so. Simple. Right, back to the studio. You join me on the floor in the studio, where we have the repeater screen from the Mac studio next door. So whatever is on that screen, for example, ProTools, can be repeated on here. That's currently showing the website version of the mixing desk. We also have the same thing on my iPad. And the reason this is handy is because when you're working on your own, you can't be in two places at once. So if you press mix gain, that will then give you your gain staging inputs. And if I was to do, for example, number 4 on the toms, I plug it in, you should see it spike. There you go. See it? And that's a really handy way of being able to wire your studio on your own or to take levels on your own. Same thing. You can then take the iPad, wobbly cam, and you set up the kit, and we wanted to do snare. snare, I could then dial in the gain of the snare. Obviously, we're hearing it through the camera, not through my headphones. But that's a really good, quick way of working on your own to set up a session. And then once you're ready to go, hit record on the old Pro Tools keyboard. My friend Matthew's left his gloves here for drumming. Hit go on the Pro Tools keyboard, and you can record yourself a session without having to jump up and down and fiddle and all the rest of it. Top tip, right? That's probably it for this week. Until next time, look after yourself and each other.